Hi guys, welcome back to B's Speed Shop. I've got myself a new cross member to weld in, but before I remove the old cross member, I want to try and make a fixture so that when I remove the old cross member and put the new one in, it'll be in the right position and square across the floor of the Mini. So what I've been working on for my little sort of fixture jig is I've just got some pieces of angle iron cut, and what I'm going to do is on either side just tack those in on the corners, and then put another piece on this side which I've cut at 45, so I can then tack weld it onto my bracing there just to hold this piece in position. So that once I then remove the cross member, I should be able to slide the new one in and just have it so it just comes in and butts up against this edge here, and then I know it's roughly in the right position. So I do one this side and one that side of the tunnel, and then once those are tacked into place, I can work on getting the old cross member removed and then test fit the new one in place. So I've tacked in both of my little fixture pieces for now. There's about a fingernail's width under each edge of both of them, which is sort of what I wanted anyway. I didn't really want it to be too tight on there, and that just allows a little bit of movement getting the new cross member lined up. So now that I've got those tacked in, I'm going to start working on removing the old cross member. I've got my cross member section removed now, so this side was easy to remove because it wasn't attached to the floor, it was just attached around the tunnel there. So what I did is I drilled out the spot weld and then cut along the top to remove that side, and then I did the same for the middle section. I drilled out those spot welds, cut the handbrake bracket off, and I've taken the measurements so I know to weld that back in the same place, and then I cut it along that edge to remove that middle section. And then this section was a little bit more difficult because I previously repaired this side, but I'm glad I have taken it off because there's a few little rusty holes which need treating and a little bit of weld putting in just to fill those up. So once I've welded those up, I'm going to clean off all of the rusty surface from this side, and I'm going to paint it with some rust treatment stuff, and then I'll spray over the top of that with some weld through primer so that once we get the new cross member fitted in, I can then do all the spot welds around the edges. I've got my new cross member section in now, and I've started to do a couple of the spot welds. I've done a couple either side of the tunnel, and I've done a couple either side along the front edge. Done a couple there and there, just so I know it's held in place and the gap between the spot weld edge and the floor is nice and tight. I haven't started welding in the backside yet because I'm not sure if it'll pick up on camera, but the back edge along this side is flared out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of clamps along there just to bring that back in, so it's got a nice square edge and I can then spot weld that side. And then that'll be the cross member almost done. I've almost finished welding in my new cross member section. All I've got left to do is around the sides of the tunnel, but there's a bit of a gap on those. I need to get in there with a little hammer and just close up those gaps as much as I can before spot welding them. And then either end there's a little side tabs which have 2 spot welds each to finish off, but what I'm going to do them is roll the car onto its side so that I'm welding down onto the spot welds rather than trying to go from the side. I'm going to be leaving this video here for now. I've got my new cross member section welded in, and now that that's welded in I can start to remove some of my bracing that I welded in into the door openings, and then I can get my doors hung back on and start working on my new rear quarter panel. So that's what I'm going to be working on over the next couple of weekends. So I know it's been a few weeks since I've posted again, so I just want to say thanks for watching the video and following along with the progress on my mini project.